there. We're back at Oogie Boogie Bash for another year. Last year we did not do a strategy guide, and we did kind of a one. Well, actually, we did do one for our Patreon people, but we didn't do a broad one. This year we thought, let's come back to doing our strategy guides. People seem to like it in the past, so we'll do it again. So we're here opening night. We're going to be exploring some of our own tips as we go, so things may get edited out, but I think we have a pretty good idea of what to expect with a lot of this stuff. So this year, our map, as we've come to expect, a lot of things about Oogie Boogie Bash are not in a bad way, but kind of repetitive, as you kind of know what to expect with a lot of those things. So whether this is your first time, or maybe you've been a bunch of times, we're going to go through and kind of give you some idea of some things to expect here. So as we talk about the map and all of these treat trails and photo ops and things of that nature, one thing I want to stress just off of the top is an understanding that at the beginning of the night, this part of the park gets the biggest brunt of people normally, because people are entering, people are getting late. Remember that the parking at Mickey and Friends and Toy Story is going to be incredibly backed up as it gets closer. Every hour the turnstiles are going to get backed up. And so as people bleed in, naturally, the first thing they see, some cool characters up here, they see some stuff to do, and they're going to bleed into that. So if you're starting more towards the back of the park, that usually makes it a little easier to go. Now that said, you may not have as much interest back there. I know for myself, we know Lotso is doing his photo op back there. That's not a big deal to us, so we're not going to be heading back there, but it's something to consider. Also, your time for the event. The event, it tends to phase out a little as it gets later. I mean, if you're here in that last hour, there's a lot of opportunities that those that leave earlier. And we normally do leave earlier because we're working early in the morning. It's just kind of how Oogie Boogie Bash works for us, but it's something to keep in mind there. Now, before we dive more into kind of the strategy of the map there, I do want to say, this is the bag for this year that you get if you're just using their treat bag. So make sure to bring your own treat bag of some sort. We've got our Halloween all year long from Halloween Shirt Company. We've also got our Mickey's Disneyland one. You can buy bags like this here as well, but I just suggest bringing your own bag there. The reason being is because it's pretty much an infinite amount of candy you can get if you want to get. And I know one of the things I learned last year is, like, we should get a lot more of this candy because I can bring it to kids at work, and that's an awesome thing to do. So we're going to make more of a focus this year to, like, let's go ahead and get that extra candy that we paid for in this, big ticket price here. Now, as we talk about this, let's talk about a few strategies. Once they open, they're going to be looking for the wristbands. And so to access, you have to have your Oogie Boogie Bash wristband. And this is where they start kind of cleaning out the park. But remember, there's going to be about a half hour to an hour overlap as they're trying to clear people out. So as you see them checking, hold your wristband up so they can easily let you by. But also know that means people may already be in ride lines. If you're interested in that, people may be hanging out towards the back by photo ops, trying to get some photos of the characters. Maybe they're not going to be able to get in line for one of them, but they're able to kind of take them off to the side. So just, there's more bodies in the park. So let's talk a little about that check-in process. Again, the earlier you can get to the resort, the better. It's going to make things all that easier. That said, it could be tough. You could be running last minute from work, kind of like we were today, and you just do the best you can with it. That said, if you have an Oogie Boogie Bash ticket, you're allowed into the park 3 hours before start time. So people are getting in at 3 p.m. on that ticket. Now, you may conversely be a day ticket holder or a magic key holder, and you make a reservation and you can be here as early as you want to be here. If you're one of those people, like we normally make a reservation in advance, and then that way we get into a shorter check-in line for our wristband and for our bag and all of that. That said, today it didn't matter. They had so many lines open by the time we got here for the Oogie Boogie part of it. We actually kind of shot ourselves in the foot because we had made a reservation, and so we ended up having to go over to Disneyland because the line was so long to get into DCA for just regular park admission. So we had to go tap in there so we don't get our reservation penalty, and then we came and walked across the Esplanade and walked right in for Oogie Boogie Bash specific. So mileage may vary there, but that's kind of the generals of that. Now, if you're coming from that 3 to 6 part, that would be, to me, a good time to make use of rides. And, if you're not somebody that comes to Disneyland often, or DCA, I should say, then it's a good time to do those types of things. The park in general is pretty busy these days, most whenever we go. And so mileage can vary there. A lot of what we're going to talk about here is more strategy related to the treat trails, the photo ops, and the event overall. But we do understand for some people, like, riding Guardians at night is going to be like the main thing. And so one thing we'll talk about just generally is when the parades are going on, that's the best time for a lot of things. And so that may be something you want to filter into that time there. Now, once you're checked in, you've got your wristband, you're ready to go, they're going to have that kind of period where they're kind of getting people out of the park and you're in, and the treat trails open and the photo ops open. Now, big thing to note off the bat is Villains Grove does not normally open in our experience until it's dark enough for the effects to work, for the lighting to matter. I mean, it doesn't really work in this sort of lighting that we're starting at right here, which is currently a half hour until open. So this is normally going to be opening up a little bit on the later side, and so we'll talk a little bit about strategy there in a moment. But the big thing really is where do you start out then? Again, we said it's usually less crowded towards the back, but I think the thing this year to consider is with the photo ops are always going to take longer than treat trails, and a lot of times people miss that. Is like Ernesto will most likely have the longest of waits to get in to go see his little show as they're giving out treats around him. But at the end of the day, that's going to be still a treat trail, and it's going to move faster than something like the Sanderson sisters over here, where it's going to be posing, meeting, greeting, taking 100 different shots. Lots so back at the back of the park, same thing. So I do think on those photo ops, if you're going to commit to that, you just have to know that those are going to be big chunks of time, and they might be the place to start in either one. I really don't think the Sanderson sisters line is going to be very short at any point in the night. Now, based off of cast member previews, we have Judge Doom, the villain from Roger Rabbit, is going to be appearing up here near Soarin'. I kind of thought maybe it wouldn't be super crowded. I know with Disney fans it's a really big deal, but I thought maybe not. But it was incredibly crowded during cast member previews. Still not as crowded as Ernesto over in the area nearby Guardians and that whole section of the park. But it was still super busy there. So I think there's a few different spots of like, where do you start? And it really does depend. Now, so for us tonight, we're gonna start with Judge Doom because I think he may not be back next year. And it's a pretty historical character. And it's somebody, we're only coming to one night of Oogie Boogie Bash, and I would hate to leave and not be able to see him. So we're gonna start there. And then we'll take you through some of the other strategies as we're kind of going through them in the park itself. But that's kind of the starting point there. Making decisions, where are we starting out and where are we going? If it's all about candy, you can have a pretty easy night, because Buena Vista Street at the end of the night is going to be wide open. Like when we wrap up the night, it's just going to be an empty street and you get as much candy as you want and look around. But if you want some of these more unique character experiences, then you're going to want to be a little more strategic in that. So for us, we're going to go to Judge Doom, do what we can there, and then we're going to probably explore and see what does it look like over with Oogie, Ernesto, Agatha. Guessing they're all going to be terrible, and we're going to probably make our way back more to the San Francisco area and things like that, and then gradually make our way back to more of the front of the park. We are going to have the parade in there, even though we've seen Frightfully Fun a ton of times, and it doesn't change much. I love the parade. I really think it's one of my favorite Disney parades, so I'm not going to miss that, so we'll see that tonight. We're going to do the 7:45 because part of that, if you've watched our strategy videos in the past, is we're going to use it as a pivot point to then go to Villains Grove because it sucks everybody over to the parade, and then as it passes and it ends, make our way to Villains Grove, and we'll hopefully have a little bit better position there. So we'll see. We might edit this part out. I don't know. We'll check it out. We're going to go out and let's go see some Oogie Boogie Bash. Okay, so with about 5 minutes to go, this is the line for Judge Doom. That's where we're going to start our night. Ben's just a little bit over towards the front of that Soarin' sign there. Hooks around, hooks around, hooks around. Takes us here, takes us here, takes us there, and then the very front of the line is up over there. And so, now if you've not been to Oogie Boogie Bash before, one of the most frustrating elements of it is characters are not guaranteed on treat trails. So we got in line with like, I don't know, 15 minutes before, and so we don't have a huge investment in time here, but still it's our starting point. But a lot of these people got in line 15, 20 minutes before us. They were in front of line, and they've warned that Judge Doom may still be in Cartoon Land when they open, but you'll have to go through the treat trail. We saw that happen quite a few times last year with a variety of the different treat trails throughout the night, and so we saw people very disappointed, particularly with Ernesto, if they waited, invested time, and couldn't go. So it's a time investment. It's unfortunate. We wish Disney didn't do that. An option is just to let people pass in front of you, and I think that's what we'll do in this case. So for Judge Doom, if he's not there, we'll just be like, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, and we'll just wait for him because we're not really here for the candy. We're here for the character photo, a little video for you guys. All right, an update on the risk of these opening moments here. So it's 6:06 now, 6 minutes into it. They're not forcing us to go through without Judge Doom, which is a nice change, but we are just frozen in place. So we're losing all of our rope drop time as well as the other, 1,000 people now that are in line. The line goes down past It's going down to Buena Vista Street area. But we're frozen waiting for Judge Doom, and who knows how long it will take. And we'll stick with our strategies, but definitely costing us a lot of time here tonight to start things off. All right, so update. Sitting on the ground in the queue, not good news. They've warned us that it's a 20 minutes more of a delay, so it's basically going to be about 30 minutes into the event that Judge Doom is going to show up, they're saying. So they're encouraging people to leave the line. Nobody wants to leave the line because it's already stretched out to Buena Vista Street, and everybody knows it's going to be an hour, or who knows how long later. We're all pot committed because we've already missed our rope drop to do anything else. So this is actually good for video, I guess, because you're going to see how we try to adapt and make good on the night after it being kind of a disastrous start, because Judge Doom is too busy to make his way down here to DCA tonight for the event and be on time. So we'll show you Judge Doom when he's here, and then we'll adapt and see what we can make of a night when everybody's already going to be in the park by the time we get to do our second thing. All right, they're starting to move us in, getting a couple pieces of candy. I'm waiting for Judge Doom.
Tunes are a nuisance. They serve no purpose in life other than to entertain. Inconsequential in the grand scheme of things.
No way.
Since I've had Toontown under my jurisdiction, my goal has been to rein in the mayhem. And the only way to do that is to make Toons respect the law.
All right, so we made our way to the trail. As we said, our strategy to go straight up the Grizzly Creek kind of area. And pretty much no wait here, even though we're like 30 minutes, 35 minutes into the event now. But an easy candy grab and a fun character spot.
You never know what you might find out there. I hear there's a rat man right over there somewhere.
All right, so making our way to San Francisco, Rioque, for our Big Hero 6 tree trail. You can see it's moving well. It's a pretty long line at this point. It's about an hour and 10 minutes into the event, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's going to here. All right, so you can see the line for that Big Hero 6 meet and greet. And this is now 55 minutes into the night, so we're at 6:55, so it gives us a chance, idea of where it ends right over here. We're moving really fast though, but definitely it's not going to be 5 minutes, but maybe 10, 15 minutes.
They call me a villain. I'd call selfishness, greed, and egomaniacalism much worse than what I've done.
All right, so we've hooked around back to Pixar area, and we're actually an hour and 5 minutes in, and this is Lotso's line right now. Super friendly guy there, Lotso. No ulterior motives at all. You can see about how it moves. Again, a lot slower than a treat trail, but not too terrible. So then we've got the treat trail over here with Sid, and it is pretty monstrous. Definitely not a trail we would jump in. And that's one thing for us, like, we're gonna be able to see Sid quite fine from off to the side. You don't need to wait in this line. That's just for us. If you want to get up right close, obviously you'll want to wait. Also think you can circle back on some of these, like this one, later on tonight, maybe during the second parade if you're able to stay up that late. Yeah, so like for us, this is fine, and we'll get our candy over on Buena Vista Street at the end of the night with no wait. That's not going to work for everybody. Totally understand you want a close picture, but...
Oh, and like your costume. You look just like my shirt.
If you're a Magic Key holder, there is a Magic Key, we used to call them AP, opportunities back here, right past the jellyfish. So we're gonna make our way there and show you what this treat trail looks like. There we go. So there's one candy stop, and then there's just this photo op with no character, at least as of now and as of tonight. So that is the Magic Key. All right, 7:22. We're about to go get in line, or get to our spot, I should say, for the parade. but saw a soft spot here, and that's a big thing to me about Oogie Boogie Bash. It's just like so much of it is about looking for opportunities, and so we're walking by, and this treat trail's not busy, so we'll go through. It's not a great one. There's no characters or anything, but we'll just get a little bit free candy because we want to be, for us, right there next to Little Mermaid at 7:30. That'll put us there 15 minutes before Headless Horseman comes out, and should put us in a really good spot for Villains Grove to sneak right in there. So we got in and out of that in like less than a minute, and then coming out, there's no line for this Hocus Pocus photo op here, which would be a good opportunity. All right, so searching for our spot here. We're gonna look for a shorter front line, like a stroller to be behind, and hopefully that'll give us a decent view. This seems doable, and then the big thing to us again is to be able to hit right here, because right as the end of the parade comes up, all this rope will be dropped. Say excuse me, and head that way before the thousands of people from this line come back. By that time, the parade area, Villains Grove area will be nice and dark, and the effects will be at just the perfect time of night. And obviously the rest of the night they'll be perfect, but it just would be a little too light right now, and then we'd also miss the parade if we were there now. All right, so this is when we stand up, the end of the parade's there, and we go. Go, they're dropping the rope. And it's a mostly clear walk normally. You can see, people are coming up behind us, but usually this works well for Villains Grove. We'll see if it works well now. Yeah, so all things considered, this is pretty perfect to us for this situation. Last year, we got in the line probably another, 30 feet down, and it ended up taking us about 15 minutes to get in. So even though this may seem like a little bit of a distance, should be good. Okay, so I'm running back to see how long the line's gotten here while Carmel's holding our spot, but this is just about 2 minutes after we got in line. It's already stretched all the way here with hordes of people still on their way. So every minute really counts on implementing this strategy. So it takes about 7 minutes to get to this point where the entry is right there. You can see the flow of humanity coming. So it's gonna work. So I do want to note on our strategies, it makes a ton of sense if you want to wait to do the second parade. If you're able to stay till close, you can apply the same strategy and pop over here right after that as well, or even be doing Villains Grove during the parade. I think the thing we want to stress the most is those two parades are some of the best times to do anything in this whole event. And so for us, our time is always pretty limited. We actually aren't able to stay tonight or any of those nights into that second parade time. So we always kind of go with this strategy, and we are literally on the road back home to get ready for work by the time that second parade's starting. But if you can stay the full time, make sure to use advantage of it. You'll have a great time. All right, so this is now 8:40, and obviously Judge Doom is really doable here. So maybe he's not gonna hold the same popularity as Rope Drop and as he was at the cast member preview. I still like the idea of starting here myself, because for me, the Sanderson sisters photo op is not a big deal. Photo ops in general is big deals to me. I like the kind of wander through trick-or-treat trails, but it is something to note that maybe this isn't a spot. Again, if you're staying till close, I don't think you're gonna have much problem getting a lot of these things in, but this is interesting how doable this is just a little bit after that Villains Grove. So that could be a strategy as well. Hit that Villains Grove right after the parade, and then make your way over here if you kind of put him as a second or third level option. All right, now we've made our way over to Agatha. Very doable, not terrible, moving at a good pace. Lots of candy along the way, and excited to see this Marvel character.
I know who can. That one back there won a waltzing in. You know. I've been around for centuries, child. Why not trying to hide? I always spot you. Oh, do you? She has me right where she wants me. Well, maybe I had her right where I wanted her first.
All right, from Agatha, we're making our way over here to give Ernesto a shot. Now, it is a long line, but it is moving really well. So we're just gonna give it a shot and we'll time it. All right, less than a minute and we're already making our way into the Hyperion portion of the queue.
Going, folks. Please keep going. Please no stopping.
That was cute.
Please no stopping.
Hola everyone, welcome.
So now this is a great improvement for Ernesto this year, but you can come after the treat trail and hang out right here in the center and watch them there. So the treat trail, not an issue. You know, this has taken, at this point, we've waited 5 minutes total from where we got in line. And then if we wanted to avoid that, we could even hang out over here. So yeah, this part right here is pretty awesome. So if you wanted to avoid the treat trail, you can just make your way right here to the center and watch him. Huge improvement from last year. All right, so we're out here then at the front of the park now. Said Ernesto is really doable. Now we're heading to Cruella, also very doable. Really everything there. Even the Sanderson sisters, actually, they're quoting at 45 minutes right now. So still a big time commitment. But again, as you get to that like 9 and later part, I think the front of the park is much more forgiving than that first half of the day.
Wasn't big enough? Oh my.
You are all trick-or-treating. Well, we do have a few treats. But more importantly, plenty of tricks!
So it only took us 5 minutes to get into Animation Academy for Oogie Boogie, which was awesome. And we're in that like 9:30ish range. But I also want to point out, Animation Academy, fun, unique opportunities there if you wanted some relaxing time. Doing some art, making some Hocus Pocus or Oogie Boogie villains. It's fun stuff there. But yeah, definitely the front part of the park here as we've gone to that 9-ish range. It's just really clear, all things considered, really easily doable. Another note, Mickey's Trick and Treat. It's a fun little kids show. It's definitely not something we've made part of our normal like Oogie Boogie night, so we don't really allocate a lot of time for it. But it is a fun little show. It's definitely aimed at the little ones, but something to pay attention to if you have the little ones or you just want to break in the air conditioning, especially like we're here fortunately on a night that's not too warm, a lot cooler than when we were here last year. But there's going to be some hot nights coming, and it might be a good break spot too to consider. All right, I did want to point out here at the center of Buena Vista by the fountains, we've got some photo ops each year. And over here, a rare one. People are very excited about the hag being out. Some Snow White love. It's awesome to see such an old school character getting so much attention. Got a big line out here, but definitely a worthwhile character. But yeah, different characters make their way out here normally. We've not been tracking this very much, so I'm sure by the time this video is posted, there'll be lots more pictures online and social media of who is out. But good to see her for sure, in particular. All right, so some last thoughts of the night. We're wrapping up here just a little before 10, late for us. Did want to point out, so this is the average size of candies at Oogie Boogie, but on the final walkout, I think they always want people to leave like with a good vibe at the end, regardless. Nice, so they always have the full size. Tonight it's at 2 of the spots here on Buena Vista Street. So your last, walkout, I should say. You will go buy that candy. And if at the end of the night you're like, I didn't get enough candy, you can just keep getting back in that line. So a couple things about just the strategies, because you kind of watched with us as we were learning throughout the night of kind of what things were and how things were working. I like our strategy. Some things we learned, I think maybe Judge Doom, maybe we overestimated his popularity throughout the night. So we'll see. Everything does seem super doable by the time we get to the, 9 o'clock side, really, throughout the park. So lots and lots of opportunities. There's a lot of people that have been leaving in the last half hour. There are a lot of people that are sitting, getting spots early for the parade. So right now, we did Oogie Boogie. Like I said, we were in there 5 minutes. Like everything's really been about 5 minutes in the last couple hours here, really since the parade. So good time. Honestly, I think this is my favorite Oogie Boogie Bash that we've had. I'm thinking like, what am I missing? But I really think it is. I feel like they've made some big improvements with the way they're handling Ernesto, even the way Judge Doom, they're kind of letting people gather a little bit more for the show moments, not forcing through as harshly on those treat trails. I think this is my favorite year. So unlike our San Diego Comic-Con strategy videos, it's like the con happens, things change. We don't know what's going to, you know, happen during that week, and it kind of like, well, we'll come back next year. There'll be lots of social media out there. There'll be lots of updates as the event goes on. So before you head out, especially if you're in that later October side, make sure to follow the hashtag Oogie Boogie Bash so you can see what people are saying about the event, additions, surprises, changes, adaptations, things like that. But otherwise, we do hope this video helps, particularly those of you that are coming in September. Hopefully it's like, yep, this is going to help get you started. And maybe if you go every year and you've got your own strategies that you want to help share, throw them in the comments, because we know we don't know everything by any means. It's just our visits here, and our visits here are always on the first day of the event, which is very different than later in the season. So please throw those in the comments to help others. We really appreciate that as a community. So with that said, we're going to wrap up here. Until next time, we'll see you online somewhere.